how your brain creates stories and why they feel so real. Hi, I'm Laura, and welcome to the Self Concept Bestie podcast. Have you ever noticed how someone can take longer to reply and suddenly your brain has got a whole novel written about it? They're not interested, you said the wrong thing. Oh my God, you're about to be rejected. Your brain is screaming at you, but nothing actually happened. But your nervous system is already reacting like it did, like it's the end of the world. That's because your brain doesn't wait for the facts, it fills in the blanks on its own. Our brains hate uncertainty, it hates the unknown. The brain's main job is safety, not truth. It's not there to make us happy, it's there to keep us safe. I will and possibly always say this in near enough every single podcast I do because I know it's been in the majority of them. Our brain's main job is safety, not happiness, not truth. So when there's missing information in our brains, it creates the meaning fast, lightning speed. It already starts filling in all of the blanks. So any silence, any unknown, any change that you're not too sure about, it's going to be uncertain, trigger story making. That's it. Your brain is firing on all cylinders. It is starting to create stories left, right, and centre. And you're going to believe that it's true. Because your brain would rather assume something painful than sit on the unknown. Just sit with that for a minute. That our brains would rather assume something painful than sit in the unknown. See, when you really think about that, it's kind of mad, isn't it? That instead of us being able to sit and be like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen next, our brain is firing and it's creating all of these stories. It wants to find the truth. It's wanting to be safe. So it must find the story. It must find the story that's going to make you safe. But what happens is the story is never about anybody. So when you think about when things have happened, somebody doesn't text you back, or there's a situation where you're really going into the unknown, it's not about the situation and it's not about the person. The story that our brains creates is about us. The events are actually neutral, but we make the meaning personal. And when you think about situations and different people, the same situation creates different stories in every different person because it's how you personally see yourself. What you think to be true about yourself is that the story that you are going to create about that event. Your story reveals your self concept. So let's think about in a dating sense. They've left you on red. You have not had a text back in 2 hours. They've actually just ghosted you. Your brain is going to start filling in the stories as I'm not enough. I'm not I'm not good enough. I'm not easy to love. People always pull away from me. Like, it's going to start creating all these stories, but that's something personal about you that you've created this story up because of what your self-concept, what your I am, what you subconsciously believe to be true about yourself through experiences growing up. What you assume says more about how you see yourself than what is actually happening around you. And that's then really a key point for you to start actually looking within. And instead of saying, I've been left on red, oh my God, how dare he do that? How dare she do that? I am like, I'm not good enough. Why? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What could I have said differently? What could I have done differently? Again, you're making it personal to you. You're assuming it to be personal about you. You don't actually know the facts of what actually has happened. That person pulling away could be because they feel too much for you. That person pulling away could be because they avoid deep conversations. They avoid deep feelings. It was actually never anything to do with you. But the story that you create is something personal to you, and it's always a tack on you because it's what you're believing to be true about yourself. That's why when I talk about your self-concept, you need to start speaking to yourself differently and seeing yourself differently and choosing who you are. Because our brains are creating these stories personally for us. Do we want them to be bad about us? Because I certainly know that I don't want to speak bad about myself. I wouldn't speak bad about anybody else. So why would I start speaking bad about myself? Because I'm the main person in my life. I'm the most important. So when you can start speaking that love into yourself and really looking at what is it that's triggering me? What are these stories telling me? When we can start to change it and rewrite it, you can start to impact your self-concept and change who you believe you are. Change the stories that we're running. Now, listen, I am not sitting here. I'm going to say to you, by the way, don't walk in the park to do this because I've been there, I've done it, I've changed my self-concept, I've reprogrammed my subconscious mind. And has it been blood, sweat, and tears sometimes? Yes. Is my brain sometimes screaming at me? Yes. And it's funny because now when I'm creating these stories in my brain and I can hear it, I can hear them going. And it actually now annoys me. I'm just like, oh my God, shut up. Like it's almost like having like an annoying little brother or sister, or an annoying friend, or I've got a sister, so that's why I'm using a brother and sister analogy. But there might be some only children listening to me that might not be able to relate to that. So whoever it is that can really annoy you, go with that. But I'm like, oh my God, like give it a rest, like shut up. Like that is not who I am. That is not the story. Like what the hell is going on? Get a rest. And that's honestly how I'm speaking to myself sometimes. I'm like, and I actually am some days like, "Are you totally nuts? Like, can you hear what story you're starting to run?" And I'm just shutting it down. Like, I just have to shut it down. I'm like, "No. No, 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 no. That's not what that means, and this is what it means." And I create the story based on my new self-concept, who I believe that I am. Actually, it's my original self-concept, isn't it? It's who I've came back to. It's who I've always been, and it's who I've always authentically been, who I've brought into the light. And I love all parts of me now. I don't shame any parts of me now. All of these stories that I've created, all these limiting beliefs that I picked up over time, I've got to change them, and I get to decide who I am now. And if I'm going to allow the old story to rule just now, if I'm going to allow a made up story to rule my life, when I don't know that it's absolute truth. So why am I going to, if I'm going to make any story up that's personal to me, why am I going to make it hurtful? Why am I going to make it shameful? We want to create it in our favour and who we believe that we are and what we believe we deserve. I've always said this. It's an example that I always like to share with people. If I was to turn around and say to you right now, I'm never winning the lottery. Yeah, I just know it. I'm never winning the lottery. You would be like, but yeah, you're right. Laura, you are right. Hit the nail on the head. Definitely you're not winning the lottery. What's the chances of that? But if I turn around and I say to you, I'm winning the lottery, by the way, 100% certainty, 100% full certainty, I'm winning that lottery. You would look at me as if I had two heads, as if I was daft. But both of these stories I've just told you are not absolute truth. Is it an absolute truth that I will never win the lottery? Is it an absolute truth that I will win the lottery. No. But why is that? I'm going to focus on the story that is more of the negative one, the one that isn't as good as the one that is. So I would rather sit in looking at the story of I'm winning that lottery rather than the woe me, I'm never going to win that. Let's create the stories that feel better for us, that personally make us win, that personally give us the life that we want, that give us the what we desire, the life that we're creating. Now, whenever we are creating these stories in our brain, a lot of people I hear say, like, I knew it was going to happen. Like, they just know, but, and that they call it intuition, but actually, it's anxiety, it's fear and anxiety running. That's what it is. And we manifest, well, we create, if you want to use the word manifest, we want to, or we're creating our reality based on our assumptions, based on our thoughts, our stories that we tell ourselves. So, of course, the anxiety and the fear can manifest into reality that creates that you're creating, as well as the good stuff if we can change that story. But we run on anxiety and fear and we call it intuition. But intuition feels calm, it feels steady, and it feels neutral. When it's your intuition, the stories don't feel urgent, they're not loud, and they don't spiral. But that anxiety and that fear, you're like, something bad's happening, it's loud, it's urgent, it's spiraling. You can hear it loud, your chest, your heart is racing. It feels like panic. It's not intuition, it's a protective story running through fear and anxiety. Intuition doesn't rush you, but anxiety does. And we allow it all the time because it's what we're used to, because nobody's told us any different. Nobody's actually said, you do know that that story you've just made up there is totally made up and it's running your life right now. You don't even know if it's true. How many times when you're spiraling, has somebody ever said that to you? Has somebody ever actually calmed you down? Because do you know what normally I see happening? Is people around us, they add fuel to the fire. They're like, oh my God, yeah, that by the way, I know exactly what you mean. They got on board because we're programmed. We're programmed to love the fear, love the anxiety. We thrive on it. Our brains thrive on it. As I've said before, it's everywhere. It's the news. It's why I don't even watch the news. I don't even turn the news on. I couldn't even tell you what's happening in the news because it's based on fear. There's never a good story in the news. There's nothing ever good happening because they just want to fill us full of fear. They want to keep us small. They want to keep that anxiety high, that fear high. They want to keep us in that fight or flight. And I'm saying they keep it. I'm not meaning that as like there's like this big bad monster out there who's trying to keep us small. But it's almost our brains and it's society and the people that how we're brought up that we have to stay small, that we can't dream big because that's delusional. So our brains are used to that. It just wants to keep us in that safe zone. So we create all the fearful stories because that's going to keep us safe. But now we get to choose a new story. And I think the biggest thing for me, biggest learn that I've had when I've been doing this and really becoming aware of the stories that's running is that we don't have to stop our thoughts. We don't need to fear them. We just need to question them. We just need to start asking, what else could this mean? What else could be true? Is this an absolute truth? And it could be something even as simple as you'll hear your brain say, "Oh, my bum looks big in the jeans." Just ask yourself, is that actually true? Or is that just the story that my brain's created through my perception of myself, that I've created through possible limiting beliefs about weight? So these thoughts that are running, I think people get scared of them. And the more we fear them, the more we feed them. We keep fearing these thoughts, we're feeding them, we're giving them so much energy. But when you can sit and you can just let the thoughts go, but you don't actually have to fear them, just question them. Just be like, is that actually true? Because they start losing their power. So when we start asking ourselves, is this true? Could this be true? What else could this mean? Start creating another story. So what else could it mean? Situation that's happening in your life right now. Just, just sit there now. Just think about it. Story you've created. Just ask yourself, what else could be true about this? Choose the story that makes you win. Choose the story that is in your favour. Choose the story that's going to regulate your nervous system, not dysregulate it. When you hear yourself, when you feel it, when you start telling a different story, where do you feel it? You feel it in your chest, you feel it in your tummy. Start realising where in your body you are actually feeling that. Does it feel natural? Does it feel good? Does it feel like you're in fight or flight? Or does it feel calm? Does it feel steady? And start listening, let that intuition come through. Just start asking, what else could be true? Because when you start to think about the true meaning of what our brains are creating, when you start to really think about what is it I'm thinking here? Why have I just created that story? See, when you become aware, when you can become aware, when your brain becomes aware of the stories that you are running, you start being able to change them in real time. And if you really are really wanting to start looking at doing it, there's a good tip that I've got. Get a notes app in your phone. See throughout the day. See if you like something happens and you feel a bit triggered, or you just feel your brain creating a story. You might not even be triggered, but if you feel your brain creating a story, write it down. And if you've not got time, come back to it at night and be like, right, okay, what else could be true about this? What else could this mean? Give it another meaning. Give it a meaning that makes you win. I'll say that and I'll say it again. Give it a meaning that makes you win. Like nothing has changed. I am safe. Create the story that goes with you being on top, not with you failing, not with your brain allowing you to feel not good enough, to feel shame. We need to start changing it. And the only way to do that is to start changing the story, how we speak to ourselves. And then what will happen is the story starts to change out there because we're perceiving it from a different lens. You start to calm your nervous system down where it can come from intuition, not for fear and anxiety. When you change the meaning, your body changes the response, your mind changes the response, and your outer world changes. It's caused by the story we told ourselves about it. And the moment that you realise that, you stop being at the mercy of your thoughts. And you start becoming the author of your reality. Choose the story that loves you back. Choose the story that you win. Thank you so much for listening. And please go ahead and share this podcast with any friends and family who this might resonate with, who you know maybe creates these stories. As always, today is already an amazing day.